Hello Internet, welcome to Games Done Wrongish.
This week we'll be taking a look at the second two Xbox Games with Gold titles for the month of October 2017. The titles are Medal of Honor Airborne and the Turing Test. Medal of Honor Airborne is a World War II first-person shooter which was originally released by Electronic Arts back in September 2007. Unlike Battlefield 3 from EA, which I overviewed in last month's Games with Gold video, this game's main attraction is not the multiplayer. In this game, the single player campaign takes front of stage. This game lifts heavily from the very popular Call of Duty 2 and 3 games that were released a few years prior to this. So much so that if you ever played those games, you will be very familiar with the type of setting and gunplay on offer. However, this game tries to separate itself by offering a more optional way of completing each scenario or map. Being a member of the US Airborne Division, you start each mission jumping from an aeroplane and parachuting down to the battlefield. As you are descending to the ground, you will be able to see some green flares burning in certain areas of the map. These designate safe zones to land in. Landing here will usually mean there is no immediate threat, therefore you will have a little time to gather yourself before charging into battle. In my brief playthrough, I never really understood what made the difference in making a grease landing or a botched landing. As far as I could tell, if there is room for you to run forward when you land and you are holding up on the left thumbstick at the time of impact, you will jog forward a little and grease the landing. If however you happen to still be adjusting your trajectory or aiming at the incline of a hillside as you land, you are very likely going to botch the landing. Depending on where you decide to land and enter the battle, getting the landing correct can be very important. When you botch a landing, it takes a few seconds for your character to recover and be able to start fighting the enemy. Therefore, if you land in an area of heavy resistance, you may be shot to ribbons before you are even able to move. If you are defeated, you will then be reloading the same scene and jumping out of the aeroplane again. Once you have landed and met up with your squad mates, there is usually one or more main objectives to complete. These can be to set charges on the anti-aircraft guns, shoot out fuel tanks to disrupt the enemy's mobility, or blow up their weapon reserves. The gunplay takes some getting used to as the aiming reticles are not as accurate as they are in modern shooters. In fact, I found it easier to shoot from the hip most of the time than aiming down the sights, as you can never quite tell if you should be using the top, middle or bottom of the sights. This does get easier the more you play. You start to get used to how each weapon handles and taking down enemies becomes much easier. Not only that, the weapons also gain upgrades when used often. The more you use a weapon, the better it becomes. The upgrades can be anything from a larger magazine, faster reloads and greater accuracy. When you receive an upgrade, the game goes into a slow mode type animation to show what upgrade you have acquired. During this time you can use the slowdown to take out a few enemies or quickly get into cover. The first few missions take part in Sicily and Italy. During these missions you fight against the Italian and German armies. You quickly get the sense that you are hugely outnumbered. Enemies are often clumped together in hordes. They can be on multiple levels using a variety of weapons from assault rifles, sniper rifles and miniguns. They also throw grenades in your general direction from time to time which you need to run from before it explodes. As you complete certain objectives, your progress is saved and checkpoints are unlocked. This can mean that if you are defeated and have to parachute back in, the last objective you completed will still be completed. The checkpoints can also allow you to start from an area on the map and not have to parachute in again. The difficulty level is fairly high on this title. Not impossible, but punishing. Depending on the difficulty level, you will have 4 blocks of health. Each block can take some punishment depending on the kind of damage you are taking and the proximity to the damage. You can be in a shootout and see a quarter of a block be depleted. Then an enemy can get a headshot or hit you with something more powerful, such as a shotgun which can deplete an entire block. If you get a nick and get back in cover before the damage is too severe, you can recover the missing portion of that block after a second or two. You seem to be able to take a little more damage on the last block, but that could have just been me noticing the damage more whenever I was on my last block of health. The health blocks can be replenished if you manage to run over a medkit in the field. These are few and far between in my experience though, so I would not bank on them being around when you need them the most. For the achievement hunters out there are 46 to collect, granting a total of 1000 achievement points. The average playtime required to get them all is 40 to 50 hours. Overall, I quite enjoyed this game. At first I thought it was a bit dated and felt a bit off, but the more I played it, the more I got into it. The feel and power of the weapons seem about right for this era. The game's atmosphere had me feeling like I was in an actual war scene, or at least as close as I imagine one feeling. I can imagine this was a very welcome addition when it first released. Unfortunately I missed out on it then. It's a shame they could not replicate this with their last outing, Warfighter.
So, you can't complete these tests, Tom?
No. That is why I am glad you are here to help. We need to work together.
The Turing Test is a first-person puzzle game. It takes a lot of its ideas from the fantastic Portal series. Each room or area has a new puzzle to solve. You have an AI narrator speaking to you as you go along, named Tom. You also carry a sort of gun that does not shoot portals exactly like in the Portal game, however it allows you to pick up and shoot different coloured orbs that power different doors and mechanisms to allow you to figure out the puzzles and progress. You play the game as Ava Turing, who I imagine is a fictional descendant of the 1950s Turing Test creator Alan Turing. At the start of the game, you are informed that the Turing Test was devised to see if an AI or robot intelligence could fool a human into thinking they were having a pleasant conversation with another human being. In this game, it seems as though the roles are being reversed in some part. Just like Portal, you seem to be a human being put through a number of puzzles by artificial intelligence. The puzzles start off fairly simple, like having to drop a cube through a window so that it is on the other side of the wall you need to use a ladder to climb over. I say simple, however it took me a little while to realise the window did not have glass in it and that dropping the cube through was possible. First I tried to climb the ladder with the cube and look at all other possibilities before simply trying to drop it through the window. Once I got my act together and started to try the simple solutions first, I was quickly completing puzzles with relative ease. The puzzles do become more challenging with timed doors or platforms you need to get through or across quickly before the power runs out, or multi-platform areas that will have you juggling multiple cubes and orbs to trigger the power points in the correct order to advance further. Each chapter seems to be split up by 10 puzzles. Each time you complete a puzzle, you go through a small transition area that shows you a monitor with your current progress displayed as small white cubes aligned from left to right. There are 10 on each line, and each time you complete a line, you advance to a new chapter, of which there are 7. The game has 15 achievements to collect, with a total of 1000 points for the achievement hunters out there. The average time to complete them all is slated to be around 6 to 8 hours. Overall, this was a fun little puzzle game. I really enjoyed the Portal games and have wished they would make a new one since. The similarities in this game and its own take on a puzzle genre has given me something to fill that void for now. I do still rate the Portal games as better games, however. If you have played and enjoyed Portal, then give this a shot, as you may enjoy it very much. For those that have never played a Portal game, this is a decent entry into the genre, and if you do like this game, I recommend seeing if you can source the Portal games and playing those once you finish this game. Portal's still alive, and Portal 2 are both backwards compatible on the Xbox One. That wraps up this month's Games with Gold titles for Games Done Wrongish. Next month's videos will be a little behind schedule. As the 1st of November is on a Wednesday, I will not be able to download, play, record and edit an overview of the first 2 titles by Friday of that week. As such, the first Games with Gold video for November will be published on or around Friday, November the 10th, 2017. I hope to see you again then. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, then give it a thumbs down. But please try to leave some constructive feedback in the comments below this video so that I can try to make more enjoyable content for you in the future. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe by clicking on the icon in the middle of this screen. To learn more about the channel, you can click the What is Games Done Wrongish video on the left, or you can visit my website at www.gamesdonewrongish.com. Thank you, and until the next time, goodbye.